Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome to a special Wednesday morning edition of Inside Hilltopper Athletics. As the case of the last several days, we're still out in Evansville, which is a good thing. And we're actually doing the podcast from the upper concourse of the Ford Center today. So you can see the beautiful backdrop behind us, joined by Don Clegg. And Don, it's been great up to this point.
Well, I tell you, it's been really enjoyable, and that was a great game. If you're a Hilltopper fan, great game to watch yesterday. 24-4, 10 minutes in. It doesn't get much better than that.
Right, I always say I like the non-nerve-wracking game. So I was totally fine with West Liberty jumping out and taking care of business. As we approach this semifinal, 4 teams left remaining, there's going to kind of be a new fresh face explained.
Well, for one thing, and again, we watched all 4 games yesterday, all 4 quarterfinals, and the 4 teams that survived, I think you can make the case easily that these are the 4 best Division II teams in the country. And what's unique about this is that none of these 4 teams have ever won a Division II national championship. In fact, I think we're the only team back in 2014 that advanced to a national championship game. So whoever wins on Saturday afternoon is going to be a national men's basketball champion for the very first time.
You know, and if we were smart, we would have done our research. I wonder how many times that's even happened in the last 10 to 15 years.
Well, I don't know. Again, we could have done our research on that, but just trying to think back, Division II tends to lend itself to what I would call mini dynasties, where you'll have a team that gets hot, they'll get a group that stays together for 2 or 3 years. Northwest Missouri State, very good recent example. I remember Findlay a couple years ago where they went undefeated through the season, and those teams tend to recur, and they'll get back into the Elite Eight and stuff. So it has happened. Probably hasn't happened a lot because, as I keep referencing, as a lot of the number 1 seeds in the region found out this year, it's hard to get here.
It's incredibly hard to get here, and that's why we're not taking any of this for granted. We're just so fortunate, so appreciative that our team, under the direction of Coach Hallett and his staff, have performed admirably over 16, 17 games. So hopefully we can keep that going. Our opponent tomorrow is from the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Give us a little background on our opponents from that conference.
Okay, Black Hills State, beautiful downtown Spearfish, South Dakota. And that's beautiful country out there. I've never seen it. Imagine it looks a lot like a Yellowstone TV series set, but obviously this brings the national perspective into the national championship picture. West Liberty, Black Hills State never met on the court. In fact, West Liberty has only played 1 current member of the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference team, which ironically enough was Metro State Denver, which was going through its little mini dynasty at the time, and we played them, and I think it was the 2013 Elite Eight in the Elite Eight National Semifinal.
And that's one of the things that makes Division II kind of unique, is you're not playing games across the country very often. If you're not making it to this point, or if you haven't played in maybe one of these preseason tournaments or the tournament that we went to and played in Vegas, you're just not going to see teams from that part of the country. And that's why these matchups are so interesting. You don't know a lot about these teams. Now, obviously, you get to watch film, but it's not like you're tuning in and watching these games all the time.
Oh, absolutely not. And that's the beauty of coming out here, and you have this compared to the Division I Final Four, the Division II Elite Eight. You actually have all 8 teams on site, and you're scouting in person as opposed to on tape. And you could see the coaches at the interview sessions after the games yesterday. They're chomping at the bit to get back out and watch that next game to see what they're going to be dealing with come Thursday afternoon.
Right, and we are so excited. As appreciative as we are that we're out of here, it shouldn't be that big of a surprise, because once West Liberty made that first trip to the NCAA tournament, we've done pretty darn well.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like the old Mikey commercial. Try it, you like it. Well, we tried it a number of years ago, and we liked it, and we kept coming back. This is 14th straight NCAA tournament for West Liberty. That's the longest active streak in NCAA Division II. In fact, it's only, I think we've noted before, only one shorter than the record from Assumption, which was almost a half century ago. But we haven't just been happy to be here. We've been successful with this tournament. We're 33-13. That's 20 games over 500 in NCAA tournament play. That's a .717 winning percentage, one of only 5 current NCAA Division II schools with a winning percentage over 70% in this postseason tournament.
Yeah, it's absolutely been an amazing, and Kentucky Wesleyan and Winona State are the 2 teams that currently are still ahead of us. But a couple more wins, we'll start to get in very rarefied air. Coach Hallett continues to win. Talk about his career winning percentage here real quick.
Well, and then Ben just keeps, he talks about how tough winning is, and then he goes out and makes it look easy. But he's 160-24 in his 6th season. That's the highest winning percentage of any NCAA men's coach at any level, Division I, Division II, Division III, regardless of division, minimum, 5 or more years of experience. You look it up in the NCAA record book, next to number 1. That's Ben Hallett's name.
Yeah, it's been remarkable. One of the themes of yesterday's game was the 16 made 3-point field goals, which they informed us in the press conference that's tied for the second most ever in an Elite 8 game. But why should that not be a big deal about us making 3-point field goals, Don?
Well, yeah, we lead the nation in 3-point field goals. How could that be a surprise? And it's something that we've been doing for a long, long time. That's West Liberty men made at least 1 3-pointer every game in the 21st century. That 789 consecutive games dates all the way back to November 14th, 1999. So it's not even the longest streak in the school, Coach.
Well, we've been lucky. Our women's program, I believe, has the longest streak in NCAA history.
Yes.
And that goes back to the 93-94 season.
93-94 season. I think right now we're the longest in Division II. I think Iowa State, which plays at Division I level, gets a few more games every year. Actually may have caught us and passed us by a game or 2 this year. But still, it's a ridiculous number.
Well, if I'd have known that, I would have gone to an Iowa State game and sat behind their basket for an entire game and started yelling, miss it, miss it, miss it. But yeah, West Liberty, it's 3 as part of their arsenal. And one of the things that I found amusing yesterday in the media conference, a couple of the media members that are not familiar with West Liberty were kind of going, do you guys normally shoot this many threes? Was that something you just devised for this game plan? And our guys kind of chuckled and said, no, that's kind of who we are.
Yeah, I give Bryce a lot of credit for that, because they asked Bryce Butler that question, and I'll give him a lot of credit because he kind of paused for a little bit, but he didn't roll his eyes. So he didn't try to show the guy up, and just answered it politely and moved on, as Bryce does.
All right, now you never cease to amaze me with the obscure stats that you come up with. And one of the themes of this podcast now, going on 2 weeks, is defense.
Yes.
West Liberty's been locked in on the defensive end. The performances out at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, playing other great defenses, and we came out of there with our chest out a little bit. So tell me the great stat that you came up with about points given up.
Okay, well, it's kind of lit a spark for me yesterday watching us take on New Haven and hold New Haven to 58 points, because I remembered the last game that we had played before that great regional championship win over number 3 IUP, where we held them to 53 points. So there's 53 points against IUP, 58 against New Haven here in postseason competition. I said, well, we're kind of a high-scoring team. How long has it been since we've held teams to back-to-back games of under 60 points? So I got in the media guide and I started going back, and I kept going back, And I kept going back, and I kept going back, and I got all the way back 1984-85 season, first semester. We beat Fairmont State 69-59, lost to Wheeling 55-54, back-to-back games, November of 1984. It's almost 40 years.
Yeah, and what I think gives this a lot of, makes it even more impressive, is we have held 2 opponents in NCAA play under that total, but we play as fast as anybody in the country. So there's a ton of possessions, and even though IUP attempted to slow the tempo, Mercyhurst attempted to slow the tempo, New Haven yesterday played 2-3 zone, which normally is going to slow the tempo. West Liberty's still flying up and down the court when they get the ball, and to hold teams to those point margins is something to be proud of for sure.
Well, absolutely. And what happens a lot of times when you talk about people that bet on games and stuff like that, talk about bad beats, because you've seen how many times where a team gets a huge lead and then the backups come in and they pull the air out of the ball, and a couple of late threes and stuff, and it closes the gap, and so they get over the 50 points, 60 points, whatever. One of the things with Ben Hallett, he emphasizes when we're closing out a game, we play West Liberty basketball. He says we don't teach a 2-3 zone. We don't teach walking up the court. Why would I send my guys out on the court and have them do something we never practice? We just go out and play like we practice.
Right, and that's probably why we've been so consistent for the longest amount of time, is because West Liberty has a methodology. This is the way we play. We're going to practice it that way. We're going to play it that way, and we don't take our foot off of the gas much. No. And the results have definitely been there. But it's just, for us, we're out here and we get to do something we love to do. But just how fun is watching this team? Oh my goodness! And what makes it even better is when you're around the kids. That and I say kids, they're young men, but they're great young men. They're really personable. They're bright. They're easy to talk to. They're funny. They're engaged. That's this dumb jock syndrome. That's a generation ago. You can't be a dumb jock and play this system. Oh yes, and even the standards, and we don't talk that much about the classroom, but Bryce Butler, first team academic All-American. Oh. Zach Brasil narrowly lost out on that Elite 90 award, which is given to the player with the highest GPA in a tournament. Yeah. And we thought he had a shot, and then when they announced the winner, he was pretty darn close. Yeah, it was like .02 of a GPA and stuff like that. And and of course Zach was one of Zach and Bryce, and we had 2 or 3 other guys make academic all-district first team, which is the same group that pulls the All-American, academic All-American stuff. I mean, these are bright young men who are going to be, they're successful basketball players, but they're the kind of people that are going to be successful whatever they do moving on. Yeah, and it's absolutely, and just look at our former players and what they've done as they've left. Yes. And it's nice. I'm hoping, shout out to Chris Morrow. He was here yesterday, and it's always nice when we get a chance to see some of our former players be able to join us. But this is just far enough away that it is inconvenient for our fans to get out of here. We had 3 times the amount of fans that the opposition did yesterday, and there's a bunch more coming today and tomorrow, so we look for that to pick up. But 4 teams left, 4 really good teams, and if you don't think that it can get pretty competitive out here, we took a Nova team that came in here number 1 seeded, undefeated, and they trailed a lot of that game yesterday and pulled it out like great teams normally do. But that's a quarterfinal game. Right, and and along those lines, the team that we're playing tomorrow is the team that knocked Nova out of last year's Elite 8. So again, we're talking a legacy of success, 30 wins, more than 30 wins average among the 4 remaining teams. Yeah, so it's this is going to be a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody joining in with us. We'll attempt to do another one this morning or tomorrow morning, and hopefully I'm going to grab Coach Hallett today for our second segment and we'll get his thoughts. And tomorrow this will be more about our opponent and what to expect in the game.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Go Toppers.
The Panhandle Difference.
Westbanco appreciates our more than 15-year relationship with Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. They're a one-stop shop that handles all of our work, whether it's quick projects or whether it's a project that might involve multiple locations, multiple branch locations. We appreciate the relationship. Doesn't matter what we throw at them or how complex it is. They get it done quickly and they do a great job.
With Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome back to the second segment here of Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Here from the concourse in the Ford Center, now joined by head coach Ben Hallett. Coach, congratulations. Big win yesterday. So just give us some thoughts about how you played and how the game went.
Yeah, I thought we played really well. I thought we got off to a really good start, and kind of surprised me that we were able to get that substantial lead early, and I thought they were going to make a push at some point in the game, but I thought our guys did a really good job of preventing that, and I thought we had a lot of energy. I thought we passed the ball at an extremely high level, and it always helps when you make shots, right? And obviously we shot the ball at a high level, and really proud of this group, but we just got done talking. Definitely happy to be here, but not content, and we've got more work to do, and that's a big task on Thursday versus Black Hills State.
Well, that's one thing that I do like about this program, this team. My wife, who's driving down today, I just got off the phone with her, and she said, well, how excited is Ben and everybody? And I said, well, he's obviously thrilled we won, but this is business. They're not satisfied that they won a quarterfinal game.
Yeah.
They're locked in, and we want to continue this run.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts on Black Hills. What do we know about them?
I know they got the National Player of the Year, and Joel Scott's he's a handful. He can do a little bit of everything, and obviously he's got our full attention, but he's surrounded by an all-region guard, and he's surrounded by other players that have been there for a few years. So really good team. They're very well coached, and they don't get outside of their element, kind of like the last team we played, and we're going to have to play really well in order to beat these guys.
Did you have concerns going into yesterday's game against potentially facing a zone the entire game?
Yeah, I worry about that stuff probably more than I should, and whenever we see something foreign to us, something that we don't see throughout the season a lot, it causes me concern, but I thought we handled it really well. I thought we passed the ball very well, and we saw a zone versus Davis and Elkins that was very similar to the zone we saw yesterday, and we chopped that tape up and watched that tape a lot, but you can't simulate a 7-footer in there. Like, there's just no way to do it, but I thought our guys did a great job in picking and choosing when to attack him, and also when to pass out of there.
Well, I know that was a point of emphasis yesterday, and I'll commend you and your staff's communication with your team. Obviously, if you're playing against the 7-footer, you can't get an offensive rebound and just go right back up over top of
Right.
guys like him. And I thought we were really selective about when to challenge, when to shoot, when not to shoot.
Yeah, we err on the side of caution is what we told our players. It's just basically giving up a possession if we go in there and try to score over top of him. He averages around 4 blocks a game, so we really limited ourselves, and we're really picky on when to go in there and attack him. But I thought we passed the ball out of that zone really well, and we made good shots, great shots, and got some guys with their feet set and caught the ball in rhythm, and luckily knocked down some perimeter shots.
So you just got done with practice. What's on the agenda for the rest of the day? What's a college basketball team do when you're in the semifinals?
Yeah, so we're superstitious with the way we do things, so we're going to go get a bite to eat right now as a team, and we've had a lot of good meals, and these guys enjoy that. And then after the meal, we'll give them some downtime and maybe take a nap, and then we're going to watch more tape before dinner and try to become more familiar with our opponents, since we've never played these guys before, and then get some Italian food tonight, go back after and watch more film, and then get these guys to bed to rest and tip it up tomorrow.
Well, great. Well, we really appreciate you taking time to spend a few minutes with us. I know it's crazy out here. Everything's condensed, and it just seems like you're doing one interview to the next. But thank you for coming on. Good luck tomorrow, and let's go get them.
Yeah, thank you.